by Laurie Goering Thomson Reuters Foundation, London. When Hurricane Harvey blasted ashore in the U.S. last month, drowning South Texas in a year's worth of rain in just a few days, it left behind an estimated U.S. $150 billion in damage to sodden homes and inundated factories, claiming about 60 lives. 2 weeks later, Hurricane Irma churned into Florida, killing at least 33 people there and causing billions more in damages, as well as brutal loss of life in the Caribbean. However, these storms might not be this year's deadliest U.S. disaster. Instead, that title may go to a largely unseen killer: rising temperatures. Over the last 30 years, increasingly broiling summer heat has claimed more U.S. lives than flooding, tornadoes, or hurricanes, according to the U.S. National Weather Service. And the problem has not been limited to the U.S. More than 35,000 people died during a European heat wave in 2003 and tens of thousands perished in Russia during extreme heat in 2010. The threat is particularly severe in already sweltering places, from South Asia to the Gulf, and has been linked to a rise in migration out of hot and poor parts of rural Pakistan. However, experts say heat remains underestimated as a threat by governments, aid agencies, and individuals. That is both because it is an invisible, hard-to-document disaster that claims lives largely behind closed doors, and because hot weather just does not strike many people as a serious threat. If you have a natural disaster like a cyclone, or an earthquake or a flood, the impacts are immediate. Things get washed away, people drowned, but heat is a silent killer, said Sarah Perkins Kirkpatrick, a climate change researcher at Australia's University of New South Wales. In Australia, heat waves kill more people than any other natural disaster, but no one realizes the destruction they can cause, she said. The attitude is, it's hot, suck it up, get on with it. Around the world, heat is a neglected and poorly understood disaster, in part because few of the deaths it produces are directly attributed to heat waves. Victims, many elderly, very young, poor, or already unhealthy, often die at home, and not just of heat stroke, but of existing health problems aggravated by heat and dehydration. In India, for instance, a major risk factor for women, who die of heat far more often than men, researchers say, is the lack of indoor toilets. To avoid embarrassment or harassment, many women refrain from drinking water during the day to limit their trips to the toilet, a potentially deadly strategy during heat waves. These deaths are recorded as normal deaths, but they wouldn't have happened if it wasn't so hot, said Gulraj Shah Azhar, an Indian heat researcher who works for conservative U.S. think tank RAND Corporation. Hot cities to find the true rate of deaths during heat waves. Health officials look at excess deaths, how many more people died than would otherwise be expected during that period. In places used to dealing with hot conditions, there is a diagnostics failure in recognizing the risks of extreme heat, said Eric Kleinenberg, a U.S. sociologist and expert on a deadly 1995 Chicago heat wave. In steamy cities like Miami, there's a sense we know how to deal with heat here, while everybody else is complaining, he said. There's a will not to see the risk. City dwellers, from Bangkok to Cairo, face particular and growing risks. In many rural areas, trees and open land planted with crops help daytime heat subside at night, providing some respite. However, in cities, kilometers of concrete and asphalt absorb warmth during the day and radiate it back at night, creating heat islands that can be nearly as hot at night as during the day.